Next, we turn to the channel of Eva Zubek, a renowned explorer and host for Superkiel National Geographic. Eva is fearless by nature, someone who embraces life in the wilderness and confronts challenges head-on. Yet even she has moments when something manages to unsettle her. And this time, it wasn't the wilderness itself. While alone inside her tent on a remote forested property high in the mountains, Eva experienced something that reminded her exactly which animal is the most dangerous in the world.
It's literally come to the point where I'm sleeping with an axe by the side of my bed. The last few weeks have been eye-opening for me, because in the last few weeks I've started to realize just how dangerous it is to do what I do. And I never had to deal with situations like this before, not on this level. But just the fact that it's all happening now is making me rethink this channel, what this channel is about, and the future of it. And this is not clickbait. I'm not being overly dramatic. When you hear the stories, I think you'll understand. A few minutes ago, a man that I don't know appeared on my property. And he turned to me and he said, "Oh, finally I found you. I've been looking for you." This is a man that I don't know, that I didn't invite here, that I didn't want here, who came here all on his own to my private property in the mountains, where there is no obvious path that leads here. He made his way up the hills and through the freaking forest to find me, uninvited. To find a woman who's camping on her own, on her private property. To find her and do what exactly? I was shocked. I was shocked and immediately felt so vulnerable and so scared. I immediately told him that this is my private property and that I'm not looking for guests. I took my axe and I went inside my tent with Vjok.
The story is already unsettling, but Eva hasn't yet reached the part that truly stands out. What comes next is far more disturbing. As mentioned, Eva travels the world for her work as a TV host, filming in remote locations and documenting unique experiences. Normally, there's nothing unusual about that, but this time, the circumstances surrounding her situation took an unexpected turn, and things grew even stranger. Let's continue her story.
This is not the first time that something like this has happened, because a few weeks ago, something even worse happened. A few weeks ago, I was filming with National Geographic for my new show when I found out that another guy that I didn't know, that I had zero contact with ever, had been looking for me on my land in Poland. I wasn't there at the time, of course. I was filming with Nat Geo on a different continent. But the next thing I know, this man found out where we were filming, and he flew from Europe to Africa to chase me down, convinced that we were supposed to get married and that we're supposed to be together, that destiny is bringing us together. And so this man is looking for me all around the world. I don't know him. I don't know who he is. I don't know his intentions. And he found me. It's a really terrifying experience when men that you don't know seek you out and you don't know what their intentions are. And some of them are delusional. Some of them think that you're going to get married. Some of them think that you're supposed to fall in love. This guy was about to propose to me without fucking knowing me, without me knowing it. this level of, I don't even know what to call it, but these situations make me feel so awful, so vulnerable.
I can completely understand the mix of anger, fear, and disgust Ava must have felt in that moment. And honestly, who wouldn't? The idea of someone following you across continents, someone unpredictable and potentially dangerous, is terrifying in itself. Even if we view this as an isolated incident, the fact that a stranger showed up on her own forested property is deeply unsettling. After the encounter, Eva chose not to spend the night there, a perfectly reasonable decision when you know an unknown person is nearby. A year later, she posted an update explaining how she refused to let the experience break her spirit. If you're curious, I highly recommend watching that video. All I can say is she deserves immense respect for the way she handled it. A YouTube channel called Taran Outdoors focuses on outdoor adventures, hiking, and mountain biking. In a video uploaded on March 10th, 2025, Taran shares a deeply personal and unsettling experience that occurred during a biking trip in Whitefish, Montana, captured on camera. The day began like any other. Whitefish, with its breathtaking trails and mountain scenery, was the ideal backdrop for an adventure. The weather was bright and crisp. The air carried the scent of pine, and the trails were bustling with hikers, bikers, and dog walkers. Taran remembers passing a woman with an off-leash dog, exchanging a friendly greeting before continuing along the path. Everything seemed normal until they came across a strange man on the trail. Up ahead was a solitary figure, a man in a white shirt and glasses walking alone. As they approached, they called out the usual biking courtesy, "On your left," but the man didn't react. They tried again, louder this time. Still nothing. A third attempt met the same silence. Something about his complete lack of response felt off. Taran even made a nervous joke, remarking that the man gave off serial killer vibes. Yet, with nothing else appearing immediately threatening, they shrugged it off and continued on their way.
Very recently, I started posting my outdoor-related content, but the truth is that I have been recording my adventures for many, many years now. And as I've been going through my old photos and videos, I came across some footage of a mountain bike trip to Whitefish, Montana. And what happened on this day became a memory, a story that I share often because it impacted me deeply, a lesson was learned, and will forever be engraved in my mind. Now, if you are a human, you have likely judged another person based off of how they look. And if you're really honest with yourself, I bet you can remember at least one of those times when you have been proven very, very wrong. Well, this is one of those times for me. If you haven't been to Whitefish, Montana, I highly recommend. It is a gorgeous, safe, clean little town about 30 minutes away from Glacier National Park. And in the summertime, it is known for its incredible hiking and mountain biking trails. We rented some mountain bikes and headed out to the trail, which was about a mile away. Trailhead was busy. There were all sorts of people out and about. You had hikers, you had bikers, you had people walking with their dogs, people running with their dogs off leash, big groups of people, people walking by themselves, and so on. And when you're on a mountain bike, navigating around them, your eyes are wide open, paying attention to your every move, and often calling out things like, "Excuse me," or "On your left." One of the people that stuck out in our mind was this woman who was walking by herself with her dog off leash. I remember passing her and making a comment like it was a beautiful day, have a good one, and we went along our merry way. I remember being pretty far back in the park when we noticed a man up ahead. He was wearing a white shirt and glasses, walking by himself. We called out to him that we were coming up on his left. He didn't react at all. So we called out again, "Hey, we're coming up on your left, excuse me." No reaction. Third time, no reaction, which I thought it was odd. Odd enough for me to make a comment, something along the lines of, "Wow, that guy was creepy," or "Talk about a serial killer."
As the ride continued, exhaustion began to set in. Taran realized that if they didn't turn back soon, reaching the bike shop would be difficult, so they decided to turn around, expecting they might encounter the man again. But instead, they came across something far more alarming. The woman they had passed earlier was still on the trail, but this time she was frantic, pacing in circles and scanning the area in distress. Even more concerning, her dog was nowhere in sight. Sensing that something was seriously wrong, Taran and the group stopped to ask if she needed help. She explained that she wasn't looking for her dog after all. She was searching for her husband, who had dementia and no cell phone. That's when the realization hit.
So naturally, your mind takes note of who and what you saw. It was a gorgeous day. I remember being completely impressed with how good it smelled of pines. The air was crisp. The trails were groomed. The people were nice. What more could you ask for? One of the people that stuck out in our mind was this woman who was walking by herself with her dog off leash. I remember passing her and making a comment like it was a beautiful day, have a good one, and we went along our merry way. I remember being pretty far back in the park when we noticed a man up ahead. He was wearing a white shirt and glasses, walking by himself. We called out to him that we were coming up on his left. He didn't react at all. So we called out again, hey, we're coming up on your left, excuse me, no reaction. Third time, no reaction, which I thought it was odd. Odd enough for me to make a comment, something along the lines of, wow, that guy was creepy, or talk about a serial killer. Eventually, we got to a point where I thought, if we don't turn around right this moment, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it back to the bike shop. We turned around and headed back. I kind of thought we were gonna run into that guy again, but we ended up not seeing him. We did, however, come up on that woman. This time, she looked very frantic. She was walking in circles, looking around. She seemed lost, and she didn't have her dog with her, which prompted us to stop. So we asked her, ma'am, are you okay? Are you missing your dog? And she replied, well, I am missing my dog. The dog is with my husband. I'm actually missing my husband. He has dementia and he doesn't have a cell phone on him. We asked her, was he wearing a white shirt and glasses? And she responded, yes. In that moment, I felt two things. One, I felt a lot of guilt, because that was the guy with dementia was the guy that I called a serial killer. But I also felt a very strong responsibility to find this man. Being on bikes, we knew that we could cover a lot more ground in a short amount of time. We asked for her phone number, told her we would keep our eye out and call her as soon as we found him. We got a little lost ourselves on the way back, making a few wrong turns, but we could not get him off our mind.
The woman described her husband, a man in a white shirt and glasses. The very same man Taran and the group had just seen. The same man they had casually labeled as creepy. Guilt washed over Taran, but there was no time to dwell. They needed to find him. Knowing they could cover more ground on bikes, they took the woman's phone number and set off, retracing the trails in search of him. The situation grew increasingly urgent. The dense forest and crisscrossing paths made it all too easy for him to wander further into the wilderness and disappear. After a few wrong turns, they finally returned to the trailhead, and what they saw shocked them. The man was standing alone in the parking lot. Despite the activity around him, he seemed completely lost, unaware of his surroundings. His wife was nowhere in sight. Taran and the group approached him gently, explaining that his wife was looking for him, but he couldn't grasp what was happening. He looked at them, confused, clearly not realizing he was lost.
How could he have?
There's no way. I mean, we did get turned around for a while, but I don't think he's at the trailhead.
And you know, my legs, the ones that were almost dead, that I couldn't make it back to the bike shop, well, those legs now had superhuman strength. We finally made it back to the trailhead and could not believe our eyes. There, in the same parking lot, standing by himself, surrounded in the same amount of people, was this man wandering around with the dog by his side.
Wow, he's here. Hi, Beth.
We mentioned who we were and that his wife was looking for him, but he didn't quite understand what was going on, even after we explained it to him. After about 30 minutes of trying to call his wife, she finally picked up and it turned out that they had actually parked on an entirely different trailhead, which was about a 30-minute drive from where we were. So we waited there with him, and when his wife pulled up, her face was much different. Her eyes were lit up. You could tell she was very thankful, and I'm sure very relieved that we were able to locate her husband. We stood there and talked for a bit, and I remember her telling me that if we ever made it back to Glacier National Park, we had to hike a trail called Iceberg Lake. And I've always kept that in the back of my mind, that maybe if we go back one day, we'll get to hike that very trail and we'll get to invite her along with us. So it started as a simple adventure, turned into something more. A quiet lesson forever etched in my soul about making quick judgments, hidden struggles, and the power of stepping up when it matters. A beautiful reminder that life's trails are for more than just riding. They're for crossing paths and recognizing the messages in everyday life.
For the next 30 minutes, they repeatedly called his wife, desperately trying to reach her. Finally, she answered, and in a surprising twist, they learned that she had parked at an entirely different trailhead, 30 minutes away. The realization was chilling. Her husband had wandered so far off course that he had ended up at a completely different location. When his wife finally arrived, her face lit up with relief. The overwhelming gratitude in her eyes spoke louder than words. She had been terrified, but thanks to a chance encounter, she had found her husband safe. What had begun as just another bike ride had turned into something life-changing. The experience left Taran with an unforgettable lesson. Judgments aren't always what they seem, and every stranger carries a story we may never fully understand. The YouTube channel, The Nomad Unknown, is known for solo backpacking adventures, exploring remote locations, and documenting both the beauty and dangers of the wilderness. In early 2025, the creator embarked on her first solo backpacking trip of the year in the Superstition Mountains of central Arizona. What began as an exciting trek into the backcountry quickly turned into an unnerving experience, leaving her questioning what might be lurking in the wilderness. Eager to return to solo hiking after 6 months, she meticulously planned her route, ensuring access to water sources and preparing for the challenges of the desert terrain. The hike began as expected: beautiful views, challenging climbs, and complete solitude. However, as she followed the trail, she noticed something disturbing. The first sign that something was wrong came when she spotted strange, bloody tracks on the trail. The footprints weren't human. They appeared to belong to an animal, perhaps a coyote or mountain lion. The tracks stretched for a considerable distance, leading deeper into the wilderness.
What is this? Like bloody tracks of some sort. Well, we should definitely follow them. Of course, they're leading in the other direction. Is there a crime scene up here? Weird. I don't see an origin. Oh, here's more. Okay. Through here. Let's see. Here they continue. Let's follow. It goes on a long way.
While the sight was unsettling, she reasoned that it was likely just a predator carrying its prey. But the further she walked, the more uneasy she felt. The blood continued appearing on the ground, occasionally staining rocks along the path. The presence of fresh blood meant that whatever had caused it wasn't far ahead. Despite the growing sense of discomfort, she decided to continue, trusting her instincts to keep her safe. After several miles, she reached her planned campsite near a spring. On the surface, it seemed like an ideal spot, close to water, surrounded by trees for cover, and relatively flat. But something about the area felt wrong. A strange, foul, decayed odor lingered in the air. At first, she assumed it came from an animal carcass or waste left by another hiker, but she couldn't shake the feeling that it was something more ominous. As she finished setting up her tent, she made another unsettling discovery: bird feathers scattered in the branches above, as if something had been watching from the trees, waiting for the right moment to strike. The eerie silence that followed only heightened her anxiety.
Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little nervous about this camp. Yeah, I just feel a little uneasy about it. Maybe it's just been such a long time since I've camped out in a tent in a place that I'm not familiar with, that the feeling is coming from that, but also part of my logical mind just reasons that, you know, I'm here because of the proximity to water, and the wild animals that live in this area have the same interest. And when I first got here, I heard some rustling of what I'll say is a mammal up the hill just away. And yeah, it makes me nervous. I mean, this is definitely a established campsite for humans, but also just in the tree right above my tent is bird feathers. And looks like something happened to the bird. And I didn't discover that until after I just finished setting up the tent. But whether I'm right here or over there, I don't know that it makes much of a difference.
As evening fell, she tried to push past the unease and focus on resting for the next day's hike. But just as she began to settle in, she heard rustling. Not the random sounds of wind or falling leaves, but deliberate, steady movement. Something or someone was nearby. At first, she assumed it was just a harmless animal, but when she called out to scare it away, it didn't leave. Instead, the noise grew closer. The reality of the situation set in. She wasn't alone. Grabbing her flashlight, she scanned the surrounding trees, but the thick darkness concealed whatever was lurking beyond the camp.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Then, suddenly, more movement, this time heavier, deliberate. Something was circling her. Her pulse quickened as she shouted again, hoping to drive it off, but there was no reaction. Whatever it wasn't afraid. Then came a chilling realization. It was stalking her. With only a liter of water left, and the growing fear of being watched, she made a split-second decision to leave. Abandoning the campsite, she grabbed what she could and began hiking back up the trail, heart pounding with every step.
Okay, whatever that is, it is not intimidated by me, and I can't see anything, but I can hear it, and hopefully you can hear it too, to know I'm not crazy. I got 1 liter of water. I'm getting out of here. I'm not staying here tonight. Are you freaking kidding me? It's not even dark yet. Right, I'm out of here.
Every sound felt amplified in the still night air. With each step, she half expected to hear something following behind her. Her mind raced. Was it a territorial predator, another person, or something else entirely? It didn't matter. Staying was not an option. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity, she reached a different campsite, far from where she had originally planned to stay. The new spot felt safer. No strange noises, no foul odors, no ominous signs of a predator lurking nearby. She exhaled in relief, thankful that she had trusted her instincts. This was just the first encounter, but as you'll see, the dangers of the wilderness would only grow more unsettling from here. Amanda is an extraordinary woman with a profound love for nature, so strong that she chose to live on a secluded forested island in Canada. On her channel, she shares glimpses of her everyday life, creating almost a visual diary of this peaceful chapter, full of beauty, calm, and quiet appreciation for the world around her. Yet living in the heart of the wilderness comes with its own challenges, and Amanda has faced moments that truly tested her courage. Let's take a look at her story.
This week's video, I
I had a lot of comments from last week's video, and it was I love getting comments. I love all the different things that people have to say. Yeah, I just really enjoy reading them. So many people had some theories about why Peach wouldn't go outside. One of the biggest theories was that people thought it was a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot.
Amanda recently had a visitor, an encounter she shared on her channel. In the comments, many viewers speculated that the figure she saw might have been a Sasquatch. At the same time, Amanda admits she's been feeling watched for some time now, not necessarily by a mysterious creature, but for a very different reason, one that only she can explain. Let's keep going, because she's about to reveal the full story.
But I'm almost disappointed to tell you that it was indeed a very large, very big black bear. I think it's the same black bear that we saw at the first week of April last year. That black bear last year was massive, and I do think it's the same one, because this was a big fella. I saw him like the day after that video came out. The next morning he showed up. I was actually just standing in the kitchen, and I looked out and I saw this massive black furry rump just heading behind the generator building. So yeah, I always get so excited when I see my first bear. The footage I took there, that was from my bathroom window, because when I saw him, I immediately knew it was that massive dude. And yeah, if he was a bit smaller, I probably would have gone outside. Not that it makes him any less dangerous, but I may have just gone outside and yeah, tried to get better footage. But anyway, so he came back every day that week. So he was here every day. On the day that the owners were supposed to arrive, he just was hanging around, and I needed to get outside and get the house ready. I had to get the wood stove started in there. There was a bunch of stuff I had to get done. So, and I couldn't get to the house because he was just hanging around the road that leads to the house. So, anyways, I broke up my bear banger. So the bear bangers that I have, do I have it on me? I do have it on me. So this is the bear banger that I have. So this little thing, you clip it back, and then you have, I don't know if you can see this, but it's a little cap. So it's a little cap, and you actually just stick it in the gun here. Yeah, so it sticks in there, and then you click, and then you bang, right? So I needed to get rid of that bear. So I first tried just the cap, and I shot probably 3 of them. And he just stood there and watched me. Like, he didn't care. Like, he just could care less. Scare him. Are you kidding me? So I ended up shooting, I think, 2 of these at him, and then finally, I didn't get that on film.
At first glance, it might not seem like a big deal, but a large bear returning day after day near your home, especially when you have a pet, is not something you can ignore. A bear's behavior can change unpredictably, and repeated close encounters can quickly become dangerous. In Amanda's case, the situation is even more concerning. The bear barely reacts to small deterrents, and even loud snaps or poppers seem to scare it off only slightly. That increases the risk, because eventually, the animal's response might not be to run. Amanda may need to consider stronger protection, whether that means a legal firearm or more effective wildlife deterrent devices, because living in isolation comes with challenges of its own. But I'm curious, what do you think? Should Amanda be better prepared for situations like this? On March 9th, 2025, the YouTube channel Wildcat Adventures uploaded a video in which the creator shares a solo overnight stay in an abandoned house deep in the Peak District. The creator, an experienced outdoor adventurer, had initially set out for what was meant to be a peaceful exploration of a hidden bothy, an old shelter not marked on any maps. However, as night fell, the atmosphere shifted dramatically, turning the camping trip into something far more unsettling. The adventurer hiked through the woods, enjoying the crisp spring air, and after a steep climb through the dense forest, the bothy came into view. Even from a distance, it looked eerie, with its collapsed roof, broken windows, and clear signs of decay.
So today, we're in the Peak District, and it is beautiful. What a gorgeous day. And we are in search of a secret bothy. And this is a properly secret bothy. Like, no one, apart from the locals, know about it. Not on any OS maps, it's not on any websites. Proper bothy, proper secret. Right, just got to walk up this hill, through the woodland, and find the bothy. And rumour has it, this might have been a former cult hangout when it was originally built. Not sure about that one. We're here. Got a few holes in the roof. Does look a bit ominous, doesn't it? See if anyone's home. Cult. Always a welcoming sign.
Upon entering, it's clear the place has been used before. There are remnants of past visitors, leftover firewood, a makeshift table, and scattered debris. However, among the usual findings, something disturbing stands out. Burnt pages from a Bible lie on the ground, adding an ominous atmosphere to the bothy. Despite this unsettling discovery, the adventurer begins preparing for the night, securing the windows with plastic sheeting to block out the wind and attempting to patch the leaking roof. The goal is to make the shelter as safe and comfortable as possible for the overnight stay.
First job, I think, is fix the windows. Second job, fix the roof. Third job, go and get some wood. Quite like this idea here. And what they've done is got a tarp and then used logs on the other side to create a weight so it hangs off. Well, I think I'm going to copy that technique. That's not looking too bad, is it? That will do for the night. Wonderful. Someone's been burning bits of the Bible. It mentions Jesus, angel, commandments. Excellent. Well done, people. Maybe there was a cult here after all. Found some old bellows. Don't really work, but they're cool. And a nice tray with the Virgin Mary. I have to say this place is a little bit spooky. It's just got a little bit of a weird vibe to it. But, I think I'll be alright. I hope I'll be alright. If I'm not alright, I'm going to pack up and go home. It does give me those sort of vibes, I'm not going to lie. It's, I'll be alright though. Right, I think it's time to get dinner on the go anyway.
As the evening progresses, the adventurer ventures outside to gather firewood. There are no bird calls, no rustling leaves. An eerie silence hangs over the area, setting an unsettling tone. Yet the adventurer remains focused on preparing the campsite. With the fire going and the camp set up, everything seems relatively calm. However, as the night deepens, strange occurrences begin. Small noises, subtle at first, start echoing through the ruins. Distant thuds, faint rustling, and occasional creaks fill the air. At first, she brushes them off as the wind or the natural settling of an old structure. But gradually, the noises grow louder and more distinct, impossible to ignore.
Going nicely now. Get this place warmed up a bit. So tonight I've got a new little bit of gadge, and it is the top, the pot holder from a fire maple, which actually fits this really well. Why are you tapping?
At one point, the sound of movement comes from the far side of the Bothy. It's not the typical scurrying of small animals. It sounds deliberate, like slow, cautious footsteps. Gripping a flashlight, the creator scans the area, but sees nothing. The sense of being watched intensifies, creating an overwhelming feeling of unease. The fire, once a source of comfort, now feels like a beacon, exposing the adventurer to whatever might be lurking in the darkness beyond.
Time's about 10 o'clock. It's pitch black in here. It does feel a bit spooky. I've really been on the phone to my friend for quite a long time just to take the edge off the quiet darkness. It's a good job I'm used to this stuff, because I would freak the hell out otherwise. I don't recommend this place if you're a first time camper. It is freaky in here. Yeah, but I'm going to put something on the Kindle anyway and go and get in bed. This will be the sleeping quarters for tonight. Should be alright. Alright, let's get this map blown up. Well, that's only just long enough. Back out in the rub bag. And there's a big hole at the end of there, so I'm going to bring it over a little bit. As you can see, I've got my DD tarp underneath, just so that there's no splinters on my air mat. I might put that wood across just to kind of block the hole slightly when I go to bed.
As the night progresses, the unease deepens. More unexplained sounds emerge, including what seems like whispering or murmuring, barely audible over the crackling fire. The adventurer, now fully alert, acknowledges that something about this place feels wrong. Despite her experience in wild camping, this night feels different, too different. At one point, a distinct noise is captured, something tapping against the wooden walls of the Bothy. Then, a loud thud echoes through the structure, startling her. Checking outside reveals nothing. The area remains empty, yet the sense of being watched never fades, lingering in the shadows around her.
Morning. I made it through the night and nothing went bump. Wasn't the best night's sleep I've ever had. I am going to be glad to get out of this place. It's time to get up. It's 7:30. Time to get up and get the coffee on.
Oh, What happened there then? Let's see how well this works. Right, I'm gonna leave this one here. I'll catch you on the next video. Ta-ra for now. Ta-ra, Beth. Well, if you've made it this far into the video, then thank you. I thought I would just come to say, you know, none of this is fake. I didn't put it on. There's no fake noises or anything like that. Everything that you see or hear in these next few clips is 100% real. Yeah,
Hours pass and sleep becomes impossible. Every creak and gust of wind keeps the adventurer on edge. Finally, as dawn breaks, the eerie atmosphere begins to lift. The once ominous forest now appears normal again, and the sounds of birds return, signaling the end of a long and unsettling night. Upon reviewing the footage later, the adventurer notices even more disturbing details. Subtle, unexplained sounds and movements that went unnoticed in the moment, leaving a lingering sense of unease long after the night had ended. Beth, the creator behind the channel, Beth's Midlife Adventure, is no stranger to van life and solo travel. Her content often captures peaceful moments on the road with her cat, Apollo, as she explores scenic locations across the U.S. But during a recent leg of her coast-to-coast journey, what was meant to be a relaxing night, camping in the Tennessee woods, turned into a full-on survival scenario. Beth had driven out of downtown Atlanta after a grocery run, heading northeast toward Tennessee. Having heard reports of a dangerous storm system sweeping across Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, she carefully selected a location she thought would help her avoid the worst of it. Her plan was to ride out the rainy weather in a quiet spot surrounded by nature. Yet as the clouds thickened and rain began to fall, it quickly became clear that this was no ordinary storm.
I am headed northeast of Tennessee. I was down in Georgia, but apparently there's going to be a really bad storm system moving through like Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee with some tornado warnings and like very strong likelihood of tornadoes. So I decided to drive a couple hours to avoid those warning areas. It's supposed to be rainy, which is fine, but it allows me a couple days to like ride out the storm. Clouds are really rolling in. It's supposed to start raining any minute. So I'm gonna just find a safe spot to camp. Well, the first stop was closed with a gate. And I'm gonna know pretty soon if I have any leaks. Oh my gosh, that thunder feels like it's shaking the van. Is the storm bigger than what my weather app is showing? Or maybe I'm unfamiliar with Tennessee storms to know that this is gonna be worse. I do think I'm gonna move here in a minute up a little bit to get off of this lake area as much because of flooding. I don't want to be stuck in mud. You've had a good morning too. The water has just risen so much. All that area now has water filling up. The water is just starting to pile up and make like a little stream here. And so the last thing I want to do is get caught in mud and water, especially when the next 23 hours it's a lot of water going to be settling here. So see, it's already like starting, and there's the lake, and I don't want to be stuck on that. Okay, I've made the decision to get out of this mud area because the water is really like rising over here. Over here, where it is more not as muddy. Even I'm closer to this other person. This is gravel here, and this is just going to be a better option. Okay, so this spot is a lot better. I am much further from the water here. There is a big dip right here, like this area. Something that can help them, hopefully. I'm going to see if they can use I was down here earlier, but with the rain, it was so bad I had to move because I was worried I was gonna get
After arriving at a lakeside area to camp, Beth noticed water rapidly pooling around her site. The dirt and grass beneath her van were turning to mud, and she grew worried about becoming stuck. Recognizing the danger, she quickly decided to move to higher ground. It was a tense maneuver. Her van struggled to gain traction, but with determination and quick thinking, she managed to reach safety. Not long after, she saw another vehicle get completely stuck in the same area, underscoring just how close she had come to trouble.
Okay guys, here's the situation. I just got active tornado warning on my phone. I can hear it. It's scary.
If you're just now tuning in, we do have one storm that we're watching right now that has a tornadic that's coming up towards Stratford. Really need you guys to take shelter.
Okay, it's okay, bud. I know it's scary. I know it's scary. Trying to watch this area in Tennessee. Oh, here we go, Pikeville. Yep, that's right. Spring City right now. Yep, I see it. Do you guys hear that? It's just like downpouring outside right now.
Despite the worsening conditions, Beth rushed to assist the stranded campers, offering her shovel and gathering pieces of wood to help them gain traction. With effort and teamwork, the group managed to free the vehicle, just barely, but the sense of foreboding grew as the storm continued to intensify. Back in her van, Beth began receiving alerts on her phone. First a tornado watch, then an active tornado warning. Her weather app lit up with red notifications, and thunder cracked so loudly it shook the van. Through the windows, lightning streaked across the sky. Beth realized she was in serious trouble. Deep in the woods, with no access to a storm shelter, no nearby buildings, and no safer place to go. With her cat, Apollo, curled up beside her, Beth turned off her lights, hoping to detect any signs of movement in the darkness, perhaps even a tornado approaching. Visibility was limited, and all she could do was brace herself and pray as the storm howled outside. Apollo grew increasingly unsettled, pacing and meowing in distress. Beth tried to calm him, despite her own fear. The van shook as heavy winds surged, and the sound of rain hammering the roof became deafening. Multiple times, her phone repeated the same terrifying message: tornado warning, take shelter now. But she had no shelter. Her van, though sturdy, was still just a vehicle, no match for a powerful storm system or airborne debris. She knew that if the tornado veered her way, she would be completely exposed.
Pikeville and Spring City are in the worst of it right now. I need to hear what he's saying on here. Oh my gosh.
As we watch this storm come together here, we've also got a continued tornado warning for Morgan and Scott counties in Tennessee. Rotation's a little bit less concerning looking there, but we're still concerned about
Here it comes. Oh gosh, I just got the warning on this saying that I have a tornado warning. Okay, well, we actually have a warning here. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. I don't have a substantial shelter around me. So I just got an alert on my phone that says to take cover immediately. I'm in my van. There's nowhere to take cover, and there are no bathrooms or anything here. It's a little bit freaky, actually. Oh my gosh, the lightning. Oh, that thunder is so bad. It's okay. Okay, so the first storm looks like it has moved past. I still have a warning for the next hour. It's a little intense. I'm really thankful my friend in Chattanooga told me about this guy's YouTube channel, because watching that has kind of helped me know where it's at and what's going on.
Amid her anxiety, Beth tuned into a YouTube live stream hosted by a storm chaser. The broadcast allowed her to track the storm's movement in real time, giving her some peace of mind and an idea of when the worst might pass. The storm eventually shifted away from her exact location, though she remained under warning for another hour. Later in the video, Beth shared heartbreaking news. A tornado had touched down in Bakersfield, Missouri, where her grandmother's elderly cousins lived. Their home, barn, and outbuildings were all destroyed during the night. Thankfully, they had survived by taking shelter in a cellar, but the emotional weight of that loss hung heavily over her.
My mom actually just texted me with some sad news. My grandma grew up in Arkansas and my granddad in Bakersfield, Missouri. Well, I guess a tornado hit down in Bakersfield last night, and my grandma's cousins, who are elderly, they're in their 80s, like my grandma, they lost their house last night, their barn, all of their outbuildings. They are safe. They had a cellar that they were able to get to, but man, it's just a reminder of how powerful these storms are and how much they really affect people. But it's just heartbreaking. It's a reality of how severe and dangerous these storms really are. My heart is just going out to them this morning and anybody else that the storms last night affected. You know, if you're a praying person, if you could just keep that family in your prayers and any others affected by the storm. I'm gonna head out right now, and I really appreciate you guys following along. This adventure has definitely been a mixed one. There's been some good and some lows on it, but I'm really thankful to share them with you. So thank you so much.
Beth's experience was more than just bad weather. Being caught in a tornado warning while camping alone in the woods, with only her pet for company, no shelter, and no backup plan, is the kind of danger most travelers never anticipate. Though she made it through safely, the emotional toll of that encounter lingered long after the storm had passed.